Will the House please come to order and members kindly take their seats? Good afternoon. The devotional today will be led by Representative Woody Page of Newport City.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Good afternoon, legislators, as well as a good afternoon to our visiting families, friends, and guests. Early on in my life, my family and I lived for over 4 years in Cheyenne, Wyoming. And the original narrator of this story that I'm about to recite was born and educated in Laramie, Wyoming, which was not that far from Cheyenne. I never met the narrator, but my family and I would sometimes travel through Laramie to camp in the Medicine Bow Range, which is part of the Rocky Mountains. It's a beautiful place and well worth taking the time to visit. I always remembered this particular story and recently thought that it might be useful in a summation of a bill or even a devotional, but I will let you be the judge of that. The following story that you're about to hear has been told in many variations. The one that I am most familiar with is from a 60 Minutes interview broadcast with the Wyoming trial lawyer Jerry Spence reciting his famous classic Byrd closing argument. Our devotional today begins with the traditional opening phrase for a story that happened a long time ago, and so we begin with, "Once upon a time, there was a wise old man and a smart aleck boy. The boy was driven by a single desire to expose the wise old man as a fool. The smart aleck had a plan. He had captured a small and fragile bird in the forest, and with the bird cupped in his hand so that the old man could not see it, the boy's scheme was to approach the old man and ask, 'Old man, what do I have in my hand?' To which the wise old man would reply, 'You have a bird, my son.' Then the boy would ask, 'Old man, is the bird alive or is it dead?' If the old man replied that it was dead, the boy would open his hands and allow the bird to fly off into the forest. But if the old man replied that the bird was alive, the boy would crush the bird inside his cupped hands until it was dead. Then the boy would open his hands and say, 'See, the bird is dead.' And so the smart aleck boy went to the old man and he said as planned, 'Old man, what do I have in my hands?' The old man, as predicted, replied, 'You have a bird, my son.' 'Old man,' the boy then said with disdain, 'is the bird alive or is it dead?' Whereupon the old man looked at the boy with his kindly old eyes and replied, 'The bird is in your hands, my son.' And then Lawyer Spence would normally turn to the jury and say something like, 'And so too, my client's life is in yours.' And with this closing story, the jury understands that it alone has responsibility for the verdict. The possible fate of the bird encourages the jury to treat the lawyer's client as it would the fragile creature in the boy's hands. And now, if you're willing, please join me in prayer or quiet reflection. Dear God, we know that every one of us can be like the boy in the story. We all have to watch ourselves so that we are not. We also know that every one of us has a choice to be like the wise old man in the story. And when we are like this wise man, then we become more good and perfect. We ask that we have the knowledge to recognize these strengths and weaknesses in ourselves, and that we as legislators have the courage to take responsibility for the fate of individual Vermonters that are in our hands. Amen.
Members, we have one Senate bill for referral today, Senate Bill 127. is an act relating to housing and housing development, introduced by the Senate Committee on Economic Development, Housing, and General Affairs. Please listen to the first reading of the bill.
S-127, an act relating to housing and housing development.
Now the bill has been read the first time and is referred to the Committee on General and Housing. Members, we have a bill on the notice calendar requiring referral to a money committee pursuant to House Rule 35A. That is Senate Bill 3, an act relating to the transfer of property to a trust affecting the revenue of the state. The bill is referred to the Committee on Ways and Means. We now have a joint Senate resolution to take up at this time. JRS 20 is a joint resolution relating to weekend adjournment on April 4th, 2025. It was offered by Senator Baruth and was read and adopted on the part of the Senate. Please listen to the reading of the resolution.
Resolved by the Senate and House of Representatives that when the two houses adjourn on Friday, April 4th, 2025, it be to meet again no later than Tuesday, April 8th, 2025.
Now you have heard the reading of the resolution, and the question is, shall the House adopt the resolution in concurrence? Are you ready for the question? If so, all those in favor, please say aye. Aye. All those opposed, please say nay. The ayes appear to have it. The ayes do have it, and the resolution is adopted in concurrence. Members, we have received requests to read two House concurrent resolutions that the House and Senate adopted pursuant to the consent calendar. The first is HCR 68, which is a House concurrent resolution celebrating the role of the manufacturing industry in the Vermont economy and designating April 2nd, 2025 as Manufacturing Day at the State House. Please listen to the reading of the resolution.
Whereas manufacturing is a vital pillar of Vermont's economy, strengthening both rural and urban communities, supplying globally recognized businesses, and driving innovation across diverse industries, ensuring the state's economic resilience and competitiveness. And whereas Vermont's manufacturing industry generates close to $3 billion, an economic impact representing over 8% of the state's GDP. And whereas manufacturing businesses constitute approximately 10.5% of Vermont's private sector workforce, supporting 30,000 jobs. And whereas Vermont's manufacturing jobs typically offer wages above the state's average, providing workers with greater economic mobility and supporting and promoting manufacturing jobs with competitive wages is essential to attracting and retaining talent while fostering long-term economic stability and growth in Vermont. And whereas manufacturers in our state contribute significantly to promoting strategic relationships between the state and neighboring regions, including New England, New York, Canada, and the broader local and global economy. Now, therefore, be it resolved by the Senate and House of Representatives that the General Assembly celebrates the role of the manufacturing industry in the Vermont economy and designates April 2nd, 2025 as Manufacturing Day at the State House. And be it further resolved that the Secretary of State be directed to send a copy of this resolution to the Associated Industries of Vermont and the Vermont Regional Development Corporations, the Vermont Chamber of Commerce, and the Vermont Manufacturing Extension Center.
Next is HCR 69, which is a House concurrent resolution designating April 2nd, 2025 as Early College Day at the State House. Please listen to the reading of the resolution.
Whereas the percentage of Vermont high school students pursuing post-secondary education has declined significantly in recent years, and whereas an important antidote to this trend is the Early College Program, ECP, that enables high school students simultaneously to complete their senior year and freshman year of college. And whereas the enactment of 2013 Acts and Resolves number 77, an act encouraging flexible pathways to secondary school completion, updated Vermont's long history of offering alternative methods to achieve high school graduation. And this act was designed to improve post-secondary readiness and enrollment. And whereas the ECP established in Act 77 represents approximately 0.4% of the expenditures from the Education Fund, and it is intended to encourage post-secondary education enrollment among students who might not otherwise consider this option. And whereas demonstrable gains have occurred during the past 3 years in the equitable admission of students into the ECP at the Community College of Vermont, including a 250% increase in the enrollment of students with low income. And whereas Vermont associate degree graduates are among the most likely in the country to realize a positive return on their investment, a figure that stands at 79% according to the Strata Education Foundation. And whereas the ECP has a major influence in directing the personal, post-secondary education and career aspirations of the state's students, and it prospectively strengthens the future Vermont workforce. And whereas today, April 2nd, 2025, ECP enrollees who are studying at the Community College of Vermont are visiting the State House. Now, therefore, be it resolved by the Senate and House of Representatives that the General Assembly designates April 2nd, 2025 as Early College Day at the State House. And be it further resolved that the Secretary of State be directed to send a copy of this resolution to the President of the Community College of Vermont and the Secretary of Education.
Are there any announcements? Member from Pownell.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. As you had heard, today is Manufacturing Day here in Vermont, and the fact is we didn't celebrate alone. Several dozen individuals representing the manufacturing sector joined us today with a joint session between House Commerce, Senate Finance, Economic Development, and it was a day full of people advocating for this essential portion of our economy, because it's the case that the more people there are making things in Vermont, the more households there are making it in Vermont. I would ask that we welcome all those who joined today to the People's House, most especially 4 members from Southwest Tech who came all the way up here from Bennington, and I know how far that is because my drive is even farther. Thank you.
Will the guest of the member from Pownell please rise and be recognized? Member from West Windsor.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. I am so lucky. I just wanted to start out by saying that. I have a couple of guests today, but 2 of them, I have 3 guests. 2 of them, I don't know how many members here are aware that Windsor, Vermont is the home to the American Precision Museum, speaking of innovations in manufacturing. And we have two representatives from the American Precision Museum here with us today from Windsor. One is Dave Eastman, and the other one is Devin Kurau. And again, they're from the American Precision Museum. Another guest I have today is Natalie Searle, who is actually from West Windsor. How often do we get West Windsor guests in this house? She is here to celebrate the Early College Day. So won't you please help me welcome these 3? Thank you.
Will the guest member from West Windsor please rise and be recognized? Member from Coventry.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. How appropriate is it that we recognize and name April 2nd as Manufacturers Day, but also Early College Day as well. In 2013, we created the Flexible Pathways. This year, there are 240 CCV students enrolled in early college. 50% of those students are low income or first generation students, first generation college students. I really want to welcome the students from the Community College of Vermont and from Vermont State University who are visiting us from all across Vermont. The majors that these students are pursuing are aligned with Vermont's most in-demand careers, from health and behavioral sciences to education, IT, and STEM. recognizing that these students from CCV who are here today all benefited from our state's early college program. Our CCV president, Joyce Judy, is with us, as well as a whole gallery full of early college students. Please welcome them to the People's House. Thank you.
Will the guest and the member from Coventry please rise and be recognized? Are there any further announcements? Member from Bennington.
Madam Speaker, thank you for the attendance of yourself last night at our Art from the Heart event that happened in the cafeteria. We had close to between 75 and 80 legislators and some staff attend. Some amazing artwork was done, so we'll wait for the next stage of putting this together. I have special thanks out to, and I know we're not supposed to say their name, but Molly Burke, who sits with us here in the House, as well as Martin Lalonde, who was there doing some beautiful watercolors, but especially Agatha from the Sergeant at Arms office, as well as David Sheets. But all of you were amazing last night, and it was a fun event, so I thank you all for attending. And stay tuned for when we present what your artwork's turning into. Thank you.
Are there any further announcements? Member from Chittenden.
Madam Speaker, it is our pleasure to have a representative of the National Council of State Legislators with us today. Erica McKellar. She is out of their headquarters in Denver, Colorado. As many of you know, NCSL represents all 50 states and can be a tremendous resource of information that helps us all. So if you have an opportunity to visit with Erica today or tomorrow on her Vermont tour, please join her. And she is with us today in the galley. Thank you.
Will the guest and the member from Chittenden please rise and be recognized? Member from Brattleboro.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. I have a guest to introduce today. Bailey Getlick is a senior at UVM, majoring in political science and environmental studies. She's been working as my income this session, offering dedicated and outstanding assistance and being extremely flexible with our sort of ever-changing way of life here. She's sitting in the balcony. Please give her a warm welcome.
Will the guest and the member from Brattleboro please rise and be recognized? Are there any further announcements? Member from Berry City.
Madam Speaker, I would be remiss if I did not ask that you welcome a Berry boy to the People's House today. Carl Rinker has dedicated almost all his life to Berry City, and I certainly would like for us to welcome him here today as he celebrates Manufacturing Day.
Will the guest and the member from Berry City please rise and be recognized? Are there any further announcements? Seeing none. Orders of the day. Members, we have one bill on our action calendar today, and that is House Bill 91, which is an act relating to the Emergency Temporary Shelter Program. Please listen to the third reading of the bill.
H91, an act relating to the Emergency Temporary Shelter Program.
The question is, shall the bill pass? Member from Waterbury.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. I just wanted to take a moment to extend a thank you to the community action agencies of Vermont, the 5 organizations who are tasked with dealing with the issues of poverty across our state, and the work that they do on their own and in collaboration with other community partners is remarkable with the resources that they have. And in addition to all of that, they are willing to take on the roles that we talk about in H91 because they realize this is really part of their base mission. And I just wanted to extend our committee's appreciation for that work. Thank you.
The question is, shall the bill pass? Are you ready for the question? If so, all those in favor, please say aye. Aye. All those opposed, please say nay. Nay. The ayes appear to have it. The ayes do have it, and you have passed the bill. Members, that completes the orders of the day. Are there any announcements? Seeing none. Member from Poultney, can you please offer us a motion to adjourn until Thursday, April 3rd at 1 p.m.?
Madam Speaker, I make a motion this body stand in adjournment until Thursday, April 3rd, 2025 at 1 p.m.
You have heard the motion. Are you ready for the question? If so, all those in favor, please say aye. Aye. All those opposed, please say nay. The ayes appear to have it. The ayes do have it, and this body stands in adjournment till tomorrow at 1 p.m.